Welcome everybody to the meeting, July. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer. Jack, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for today and thank you for this great country. Thank you for this little community that we live in, and be with us tonight as we make decisions, to make intelligent decisions for the community. Thank you and amen.
Amen.
Debbie, please.
Commissioner Griffith,
Here.
Commissioner Holcomb,
Here.
Chairman Beanbaugh,
Here.
Commissioner Britz Parker, Commissioner Davenport.
Here.
Mr. Mitchum, do we have any changes?
Yes, sir. We
Deletions,
do have-
additions?
I think you've got 3 pages that were inadvertently left out under, let's see, 6A,
Okay.
I believe it was. Yes, sir. That you have on the dais there, and then I believe Mr. Cloud has add on 5C, contract.
Okay. Public participation. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to address the commission tonight? Seeing no movement, I close that part. We have the consent agenda. Is anybody happy with it? Is anybody unhappy with it? Where are we on this?
I have a question on H, so I'd like to pull H.
Okay, pool H.
Change order.
I have a question on D and E. So we have D and E and H. Lee,
That
you-
covers me too. Good.
Covers you, buddy? You're covered? Can I have a motion to pass the others or to accept the others, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Debbie, please.
Commissioner Griffith,
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb,
Yes.
Chairman Beanbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Davenport.
Yes.
Jack, you were first. You're up at H.
Just a question. The budget on the capital improvements plan was 2.5 million for, I believe it's E117 on the project, and then the bid was for 1.6. I'm just,
Mr. Wainscott.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Derek Wayne Scott, Director of Engineering. When we were preparing the budget, we had heard rumors that transformers cost upwards of $1 to $1.2 million. So we budgeted accordingly, and the bids came in roughly around just over $600,000 per transformer.
okay, so basically that's it. Where does that 900,000 fall back into? What do we do with the overaccrual or estimate, or how do we?
It would go back to the
R&R?
unallocated fund.
Unallocated, R&R? Okay, all right, that was it, the only question. Thanks. It's a big miss, that's why I was just curious how we
Well,
missed it by
the
a
rumors at
million.
the time were 1.2 to $1 million for a transformer.
I get it. I
We
understand
got 2 for
100%.
1 point.
It's a good
3.
miss. If we're gonna miss, that's the way we wanna miss.
I'll take that miss.
Right, absolutely, it never usually works out that way. Thank you. That's it.
Derek, stay up there. I have a question. What upgrades did the city do to us on the roofing project that we had to spend another bunch of money to re-engineer the thing?
It was the county and the city, and they just adopted a new building code for 2017, and the building permits weren't submitted until they had adopted it, and the design for that project goes back a couple years. And it took a couple hours of our consultants' time to correct it and adjust for the new building code.
So there wasn't any upgrade on the roof itself. This is all paperwork that $3,000 cost us.
Correct.
All right, and the other one is on E, we're gonna work on Saxon Boulevard again.
Correct.
I want to be real careful how I ask this question. Do we have enough eyes on this project this time so that a mistake of the last nature, we have a good chance of catching?
Yes, sir. We're fully aware of our mistakes on the last. We'll make sure the contractor doesn't make those same mistakes.
We've got a real good handle on this one, Derek.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because that one scares me. All right. Thank
Yes, sir.
you.
We're fine.
I thought that was all through, Mr. Chairman, on Saxon.
No, this is a second.
We
I'm
had
sorry,
the
buddy. Go ahead, Derek.
we had the road closed, and we didn't really have a solution that was going to be able to let us quickly reopen the road and solve all of our needs. This project finishes the project. We get rid of a can station, and we go 2 more blocks with brand new sanitary sewer. Pick up new water services in the work area so that we don't have to go back in at a later date and do that work as well. So this is a little bit of cleanup from the past project, but we just having the road closed for as long as we did, the residents weren't having it. We didn't have a quick solution, so we decided to close that project out, do what we could, and then reevaluate, which is what this part is.
Are you going to have to close the road again on this project?
We believe that we can have 1 lane open. The southbound lane is the county is going to require us to maintain that open at night. We'll probably close it during the day and have a detour for northbound. Don't expect much more than 2 months of that.
Do we know, is there a better time to close the road or a less inconvenient time to close the road?
Mr. Chairman, last year we had the road closed during the summer months. Not very convenient for anyone.
Okay.
We are targeting after Labor Day and before Thanksgiving to have this work being done.
Have we gone down and told the people what's going to happen?
Not until we get a contractor on board, but we will.
Then we'll go down and have a sit-down
Yep.
with the residents and tell them what to expect?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't need the phone calls that I got from the last one.
None of us do, sir.
Okay.
Will this contractor be bonded?
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
They all have to be.
I'm just making sure of what we went through in the last one.
No, we learned that lesson too, and the contractors kind of look at us like we're crazy when we say go record the bond, and we tell them the whole story and say go record the bond and stop asking about it.
Thank you.
It's on the work. Mr. Wayne's got a question,
Go,
Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up back to the corporate office building. Where are we now versus closing it out as far as all the work that was done? And there was a change order, I guess, additional change order for flooring. Does that wrap us up now?
That's a separate project.
Separate project, so
Yeah.
have we closed out on the office?
The
Corporate
renovation
office,
to the exterior of this
renovations-
building has been closed out and final
has.
payment's been made.
It has, okay, good. And
This
where
is
did-
just sprucing up some
Right.
of our customer service areas.
And again, a quick shot at versus budget. Where did we end up versus budget?
Do you recall what your budget was for the flooring? Yeah.
No, I'm not,
No.
I'm talking for the total project. Where did we come in with respect to
Oh,
the
for
total
the COB,
project?
I think we were at
COP.
somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.7 total,
Yeah,
Is that
last we were
right?
looking, 2.7.
and I think we were budgeted at 2.5.
2.5, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So not too bad for all
All the
the
changes,
problems
yeah.
you found.
This is no less than 5 buildings with undocumented changes in the past, so I'm happy with what we ended up with.
Found a lot of
Let
skeletons.
me ask you one more question on that, now that we keep bringing it up. Do you see this building working for us in 5 years from now?
No.
So every time we see money coming to Band-Aid this baby, let's just put the Band-Aids away, figure out how to work through it.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, we got to make that decision on, we're putting bad money after bad money now, and we've got to make sure that we stop that and start focusing on what we're going to
Yeah,
do.
I would hope we would stop that since, we're at a 2.7.
Well, there's a few things that we still have to do. I mean, we do have people working in the building. I
Oh,
mean,
sure,
there are
maintenance,
things that have to
Sure.
just routinely be
Talking
done.
about capital.
Large capital projects, I'm
We're done.
not prepared to stand before this board and recommend any.
Okay.
A
that's what I-
definition of large might come into the category a little
Sure.
bit.
Let me remind everybody, if you have them, turn them off.
Phone off. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman and
Nope.
audience.
No problem, buddy.
Give you a little love out there now.
Frank was coming in around the
Yeah.
corner.
Mellows you out, changes the whole attitude of the meeting. Excuse me, Mr. Wainscott.
That's all right. Any more questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
You have anything else you want to add, Derek?
No, sir?
No? Okay, fine. Okay,
Just-
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt 3D, E, and G.
No, it was D, E, and H.
I'm sorry, no wonder I got in trouble.
Okay, no
D, E,
problem.
and H. Got the wrong circle.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, Deb. Any
Yes,
more
sir.
discussion? Please?
Commissioner Griffith,
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb,
Yes.
Chairman Beanbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Davenport.
Yes.
Ms. Merchant, please?
Derek. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Lori Merchant, the Controller for Utilities Commission. For the month ending June 30th, 2018, the Utilities Commission change in net assets for the combined system is a positive $929,620. The balance of the fuel and purchase power account is an over-recovery of $1,565,000, which is a decrease of about $175,000 for the month. For the month of June, we had a capital outlay of approximately $1,148,000 on capital projects. And almost after 2 years, we finally received approximately $1 million from FEMA and the state reimbursement
Yes.
of the cost incurred to restore service for Hurricane Matthew. We are still working with FEMA for Hurricane Irma reimbursement.
How much are we expecting from Irma?
Right now, we're about 1.2 to 1.3 of expenses.
That's what our expenses are? What do we
We
get
get
75%?
FEMA and 12.5 state, 12.5% state, and the other 12.5 is us.
Okay. Any questions for,
Any time frame on getting that money?
Well, it took
Another
2
2
years
years?
for Matthew. We're still in the beginning stages with Irma. We're still submitting. We're still, we have one-on-one actually with Irma. It's a little bit different the way they handled Matthew and Irma. So right now, we're still working and where we have to upload and documentation. And so we're like nowhere near where one set of eyes has even seen it. So, yeah, it's a bit much, but we're working on it.
any other questions for Ms. Martin? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lori, for all your help.
Mr. Cloud, you're up.
Well, I think that the first item is just noting that the conflicts form was timely filed. That was necessary because of the item that came up last time involving Commissioner Davenport and the surplus properties that are being purchased, and we are proceeding to closing in accordance with Resolution 2018-04. The second item is our bills that have been submitted and for your approval.
Anybody have any questions on Mr. Cloud's bills for services?
Really need Ms. Parker to
Well,
check
yeah,
it
but
out.
she's not
She's not
here,
here,
so
of course.
You guys are gonna have to
Have to
wing it
wing it.
without the
Yeah.
real charge, yes.
Yeah. I guess I'm okay.
Okay. And I need a motion if we wanna pay the guy, or I guess he might walk out of here, but
I'll make a motion.
Oh.
We pay our attorneys.
we pay him. I need a second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does anybody wanna try to ask some questions without Bernadette being here?
Well, I'd like to just have an understanding here that I bought this property 3 years ago, way before I even got appointed this board. I never thought I'd be on it, so it was a bid process. Sealed bids, the Utilities Commission puts it out. So I bid on some property, I bought a lot, got 3 lots. One, we're gonna build a habitat house for them, we'll gift it. So I've been on that, we're gonna build a habitat per amenity house, we have a closing, so. And the other piece is right next to my office, so that's it right there, and it's got a lot of zoning restrictions, so let's just put it that way, so. Thank you.
That's absolutely correct. And the only reason it has taken so long is because of title problems with the property. And it's just, from 2015 until now is how long it's taken to clear the title on the property.
And I got appointed a little over a year ago, so.
I think that's called no good deed goes unpunished.
Thank you.
Right.
All right.
Finally, good to get it over with.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Debbie, please.
May I confirm it was Griffith who seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Griffith?
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb?
Yes.
Chairman Beanbaugh?
Yes.
Commissioner Davenport?
Yes.
The final item is the item that's added, which is the employment agreement between the Utilities Commission and Joe Bunch. Brittany and Bernadette and I met with him on Friday afternoon. We were able to reach him by phone. He came back to the building. We were able to sit down and reach an agreement. We used the form that Mr. Mitchum has. It's been reorganized, but it has essentially the same provisions in it. The contract amount is for $225,000 a year. The benefits are essentially the same. We just spelled them out more in this agreement, and that was based on information I received from Brittany. We didn't actually debate the term of the contract. My experience in Florida over 40 years has been that most CEO contracts are entered into for anything between 3 to 5 years, and Debbie helpfully pointed out this morning that you can't go beyond 4 years without obtaining an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach City Commission. So the contract has been drawn up to have an effective date of October 1, 2018. He begins work November 1, 2018, and the contract would expire September 30, 2022. That's the longest term I could give him without his first item before the City Commission being the approval of his contract. I talked to him about that this morning, and he agreed with me that was probably not the first thing to carry before the City Commission. So that's the essence of the agreement. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Brittany has been an all-star throughout this entire process, and as have the rest of the members of your commission staff. And of course, the consultant did an excellent job of identifying some very qualified candidates.
One of the things that, looking at the contracts, and again, initial contract, we're, bringing the guy here, and I'm good with that. I'm good with all the terms in here. But as we move forward and we re-up, some of the language, after you're here 3 years, you've gone through your contract, the severance package, I would never vote for again. So I just want to make, I get it, you're moving you down here.
That language is, there's no other word for it. It's horrible because it's almost incomprehensible.
Right.
And it's way too detailed, but I didn't feel like that entering into a protracted discussion of termination provisions at this point in time would be a very healthy process, given the desires of the commission to proceed forward.
And again, I have no problem, the first, like we're bringing somebody in, there's a commitment
Right.
on both parties to make it work, and I don't have a problem with that. Where I have an issue is, just like we had last councils, 16-year participant, and we've got a $60,000 buyout. If we don't like each other by 3 years, then he can go his way, we can go our way, but I don't think the next contract needs to have anything, and I would hope that we would never engage in that past the initial contract. So just one of the things I looked at, I don't have a problem with it now, but the next term, depends if I'll be here or not, but the next contract, I would just hope that we don't make it a practice to just re-up everything, because there's the initial contract and basically a renegotiated contract or extension of a contract is a different formula. And I don't think after 3 years that we should be paying severance pay to somebody that's been here. So I just want to make sure that, make that clear, 'cause probably when this does come up, I won't be here, so.
I'll agree with, Mr. Chairman, I agree with Jack. No, this 20 weeks, I don't know, wish we could have done something, but I wish that our Utilities Commission, the staff would take everything we've done in hiring this person, the CEO, and try to take the steps, because we went through so many, and I think when it's all said and done, we had a pretty good system in place. But again, that 20 weeks,
Or, you know, again, it's, I don't have a problem with it with the initial contract, because we're out trying to encourage somebody to come here. They're taking a risk, we're taking a risk. Both parties have done their due diligence. The initial contract, I have no issue with.
I will tell you
Okay.
that a severance amount, and that amount is fairly typical in most city manager and county administrator agreements. You know, I feel,
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, I don't have a problem initially.
right.
When we come back and we renew this contract, that provision needs to be removed, because at that point, I don't like it. I mean, you can pass it 4-1, but I'm just not, I've never entered into a contract in my life where someone said, hey, and again, the first 3 years, you're moving people here, but past that, I think it's
My biggest objection is
insane.
just how difficult it was to read and comprehend all of the definitional information that was contained in the severance clause. Because the severance clause is pretty typical, but I hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Mr. Davenport, are you finished?
yes, sir,
Good.
thank you.
Lee?
Mr. Chairman,
Go
one
ahead.
quick question. Term of notification with respect to challenge, 90 days. Is that normal? Is that average?
Yeah, it is.
90 days before you can terminate somebody, other than by cause or,
Right.
I don't know, did we miss
It's
something?
actually pretty typical, believe it or not.
Okay. At that level, I guess, CEO level?
Well, right, I've been exposed to a lot of stupid, and
Yeah.
it would, I can't, that, to me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not interested in what, if we're gonna sit down, we're gonna negotiate, we're gonna.
I would say this, because candidly, working with Joe has been very easy. He's been very agreeable.
Good.
If there was a provision in here that gives you all a great deal of heartburn, he'd probably agree to it, you know?
I don't have a problem in the initial contract.
Okay.
What I'm saying, where my
I
problem
don't want
was-
you to think that he had been like, you know,
No, let's-
negotiating every last
No, no,
sentence.
no.
That's not the case.
And let me walk this back. My issue is, we just paid $60,000 to somebody that was here 16 years. So that's mind-boggling to me. I never want to put the UC in that position ever again. And I want to emphasize that point as you go and you renew contracts for existing people. That's all I'm saying. That provision should have never been in that contract. And I would, if we came back 3 years from now and I was sitting here and that was still in there, I would not approve that. That's all, and I don't think we should. At that point, we're both vested partners. Let's go based on the merits of the job and do your work. So, just because things have been done certain ways, I don't want to fall into accepting that standard. That's all. That's my 2 cents, and I'll just leave it at that.
I concur 100% with Jack said.
I would just comment after Brittany issued the good news of the acceptance. I gave Joe a call Friday night,
Okay.
just to welcome him to the UC and to welcome him to New Smyrna Beach.
Super.
And he was very excited about coming.
This
and,
isn't a Joe issue. This is
No, right.
I'm happy with Joe too. I like what we
Yeah,
got, and
exactly.
I know he didn't negotiate. This was the contract that you got. I'm good with it. This is more 36 months
We were
from now.
just trying to get everything off on a good foot.
Right, and I'm very happy with the selection, so I don't want that to be, it has nothing to do with Joe. It's going back to the learn from your past,
Thank you.
sins of your past, I guess.
Everybody done?
Yep.
I need a motion to accept this contract.
So moved.
Been moved. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Debbie, please.
Commissioner Griffith,
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb,
Yes.
Chairman Beanball,
Yes.
Commissioner Davenport.
Yes.
Yes, I am very happy with the man that we have chosen, and I want to thank everybody that had a fist or a finger or part of this, going from the staff people to our attorney, and particularly to the four other people who sit up here. I know how much time I spent just on this thing, going through the resumes and trying to figure out, and then the interviews, and then not sleeping very well the night that we had to make this decision, and it worked out well, and I want to thank everybody for your help.
I'd concur with that. And the one thing I did like is the way that when we went through it, we adjusted. I like the dialogue. I like the debate. I really like the transparency where it was done openly. There's nothing that I see that I feel that I got to defend. I mean, I'm really happy moving forward. And again, staff, you know, that's for us, you know, from getting Dave here to Brittany answering multiple questions, multiple phone calls. You know, it's not, for us, it's not, you know, it's not as easy as, you know, we take it very seriously, and I know that. But I'm really excited, you know, after you make a decision and you're done, you kind of get a couple days to think about it, and as the time has worn on, I feel very good about the selection we've made. So I just, for me, it was learning, going through it, and I think it was, I'm trying to think of a question that I didn't get answered or something that I didn't understand. So there was a lot of resources from the vendor to staff to the attorney to just about everybody involved, even the current CEO, writing a letter of what he wanted us to focus on, what he thought were key points. So there was a lot of people that went into working to find the right person. And again, we have 160 employees and a lot of ratepayers that really wanted us to get this right, and I hope we did. And there's no certainty in that, but I think we did the best we could. So, like I said, I feel good about that too moving forward.
Great team effort from start to finish,
Yeah.
especially with a great outcome.
Mr. Wainscott, you are up, please.
Mr. Chairman, item 6A is a draft RSQ, and the 3 additional pages are what would be the scope of a contract with the selected consultant. What I need from the commission is a review of the RSQ, a review of the scope of the proposal, and any input that you might have. We are intending to push this out. It's RSQ 0119, which means it'll have to wait till October to go out. From our perspective, we want the new CFO on board and here so that he has a say in it as well.
You said October 1st? This would go out?
October 5th is the tentative start date.
And again, I don't know how this works because our contract doesn't start with our new CEO until October 1st, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm
But
sure.
he doesn't come on.
Till
he doesn't
November.
Actually, until November 1st, yeah.
But we, again, are these things that probably want to, so he knows what's coming? I'd hate to have to come in and all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we did this 3 meetings ago and we're,
He'd have a full opportunity to look at the contract for the physical rate study itself.
okay.
We probably wouldn't give him an opportunity to evaluate the submitters for the RSQ.
But the
He
content.
wouldn't be managing
Right.
the project. It would be handled through my office and the new CFO's office.
You said he did look at it, like on Friday, or did
No,
I
no,
miss?
no.
Did I misunderstood?
No, he would have an opportunity to evaluate the contract for the actual rate study. This is going to be evaluated, and the selection committee is going to make a recommendation. I'll bring that recommendation to this board.
Right.
I will then enter a negotiation to go to contract for the proposal to perform the actual rate study. That will also come to this board, and by that time, the new CEO, CFO should have their feet under them and up and running.
Okay.
Let me ask a question. Is there any, should we send this proposal, what do you call this at this point, Derek?
I call that a request for a statement of qualifications.
Okay. Do we want to send that to the new CEO and let him run over it?
It's a fairly benign draft form. I mean, it's a form that we use, and we just changed a little bit of the scope. So all he would be looking at is the general description of the services needed on page 3 of the RSQ. Thank you. General description of services needed, and there's a list of what looks to be about 7 or 8 items there.
Yep,
It-
they're pretty basic.
They're pretty as you're saying, it's pretty common.
Yeah, we
Okay.
took the last 2 rate studies, we took everything that we did in those and we put them in here. It's,
All right.
I
You
wouldn't
mean the
recommend
ones
it.
we did and didn't execute? Okay, just curious, just wanted, right.
Just wanted to get that in.
Yeah.
Derek?
Thanks, Jack.
Okay.
We do have some fun up here. One meeting, 2 meetings ago, I asked you about the 800 acres. And you indicated to me, if I remember correctly, it was in this rate study, that there would be something about what to do with the 800 and how to manage that or whatever. Am I?
Different RSQ.
Right.
That RSQ opens on the 26th, which is Thursday of this week.
We've already done that?
Yes.
I'm that far behind? Okay, thank you.
And then basically, that just aligns the qualified candidates. By the time we bring all that back, we're gonna have all the new players in place. So, yeah, I'm
Good.
Sorry, obviously.
That's all right.
good question.
Well, you're not asking for their approval of this tonight, are you? You're just asking for input.
I am asking only for input.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want us to go back and look at this and make sure we're all,
And then
that
next
we're
month,
all agree, not necessarily are we correct?
I don't need you to agree to anything. I need your red lines, I need your
I understand
markups on it,
that.
and whether that goes through
Yeah.
Mr. Mitchum's office and whatnot. It's, I need Mr. Cloud's input on it as well.
Right, that's. because
That's the reason here is you guys wanted to see the draft RSQ, so
Right.
we brought everything to you.
All right. Mr. Davenport, you got any questions?
No.
Jack? Lee?
I'm good.
I'm just
Could I
curious.
cut, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
again, And I have no problem with you asking for input, and I like that, but where would I go as the person that would be qualified to give you input to basically evaluate this? I mean, I want to help you, but I don't, is that just sitting down with, right, Mr. Mitchum? And, because again, this is the first one I've seen in my life, okay? Not this year, not this week, my life, okay? So I'm smart enough to sit up here and tell you sometimes I don't know. So where would I go
I'm
give you
sure
that
we
input?
could get you a copy of the one form in
Okay.
2005 for you to compare it to.
Okay.
As far as comparing it to what other utilities do,
This is,
it's,
all right.
you really can't compare it. Mr. Cloud has already forwarded me some information on how we compare in our rates to our neighbors
Right.
here and there in FEMEA.
FMEA, yeah.
I think there's 33 other locals like us that are part of that. So there's information out there.
Well, and again, is that, because when I do look at that, if you find when I look at that same report, some people evaluate 1,000 kilowatts, and then some are 1,250, and then there's the commercial aspect of it, so that's, is it all of those, or is it the 1,000, is it 1,250? I mean, I'll ask those questions. When you get back, you can just explain it to me. How's that sound?
This is a very comprehensive
Yeah,
rate
I
study
get
that we're
it.
sending out, more detailed than previous. We're looking at, different aspects of rates, also maybe even tiered rates,
Okay.
which a lot of other utilities are doing.
And perhaps the question, I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchum, I didn't mean to cut you off. Perhaps the questions that you're asking would be, once we select a consultant and we have a proposal in front of us, we can ask, how are you going to do this rate study?
Right, that's all I'm trying, just the understanding of what actually goes into it.
You'll have it twice.
All right, fair enough. Thanks.
Any other questions for Derek? Thank you, Derek. Okay. Ms. Pritchett. And I want to thank you again for last month. I know you were trying to be on vacation and come back for that, and I thank you for that dedication. I
You're
really do.
welcome.
And it's, while I'm saying it, and the same with you, Mr. Mitchum, you're on vacation. Thank you for coming back for tonight.
You're welcome, thank you.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Thank you. Brittany Pitcher, Director of Human Resources. We have before you tonight for approval renewals of our healthcare options. And this year we're looking at a 0% renewal on our major medical, a 3% on our dental, 0% on vision, 0% on life and disability. The 3% on dental is roughly about 30 cents to $2 an increase a month, so it's very minimal. Do you have any questions?
Is that our contribution or our employees' contribution?
Dental is employee contribution.
Okay.
So the Utilities Commission is not going to see any
Okay.
increase in premiums.
All right. Mr. Davenport, you have anything that you're in the insurance business there? Do you have?
Who's our agent record on this?
We have Priya.
I'm good with that.
Okay, Jack?
0% renewals. I mean, you gotta be good with that, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd like
I wish,
some-
I wanted to see the same thing. I didn't get the same sheet at my place, so I'm still, I've got questions to ask, but they're not here. They're back at my business. So,
You
That's a good job.
You want to hire her
Yeah,
to
geez.
negotiate for you
Right.
back at the car store?
The only thing I can count on going up every year.
Lee?
Great numbers, great work. I mean, zeros and threes are pretty darn
Yeah,
outstanding.
you don't see those too
Yeah.
often. All right, you need us to tell you that we like it and we want to buy it?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve agenda item 7A.
Yeah. Somebody else? Second?
Second?
Moved by Jack. Okay. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Deb.
Commissioner Griffith?
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb?
Yes.
Chairman Beanbach?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You have anything for the good of the organization, Mr. Davenport?
No, it's just really exciting to work with everybody. I can't say enough good things about Mr. Mitchum and what you did in selecting our new CEO and all the hard work, Randy, Brittany, Dave, everybody. It was really a great team effort. And I appreciate some feedback I got. Interviews, I would ask questions to some of our wonderful employees and they responded to me, so thank you.
Jack?
Nope.
Lee?
Just a question, our new CFO, great news, great, he will be expected,
I believe it's July
sometime-
30th.
Is it July 30th?
Would you tell us how to pronounce his name, please, Brittany?
Vodzak, V-O-D-Z-A-C-K.
Vodzak, am I saying correctly?
All
Vodzak?
right, Vodzak.
Thank you.
How about Mr. V?
Mr. V, yeah, like
Mr.
Mr. V.
V.
Yeah. Mr. Cloud, you have anything you want to say for the good of the organization?
No, sir.
Mr. Mitchum?
I'm done, thank you.
We've had enough fun for tonight. Thank you, we're done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you all.
I can make dinner tonight.